Let's talk about chapter 9 in the book, simply titled Atlanta. Admit it, first one I went to. First one many people will. It was your fourth year in the league. You were 24 years old. You led the league in tackles 2 years. You were an all-pro. Life was good. You were at the Super Bowl in Atlanta, went to a Super Bowl party. You go on to explain how important clothing and everything was to you at the time. And then you went to a club, and you're leaving the club with a couple of friends. Your entourage had grown, a girl on each arm, as you explained it. You made your way to your car, and what happened?
Chaos. I think because of what I did in the book, what I always wanted to express to people was some things in life, when you saw that moment, it's the hardest thing ever to ever explain. Because when chaos happens, it happens way too fast. But I've always been that person I've never been, my mom can tell you, my history will tell you, I've never been that guy, an altercation guy. I'm not an engaging guy when it comes to that. I'm the one that pulls everybody back. What are you doing? What are you doing? And the moment that erupted that night was the moment that my life forever changed. Not because of I was involved in something, but because my name was around something like that. So for me, I immediately with Atlanta, man, even when I speak about it now, what people don't understand is I live with Atlanta every day of my life. Because what's tied to me is something tragic. I cringe when I hear the brutality of how people hurt other people. I cringe when I hear.
How does that affect your daily life today?
Well,
that you were accused in a double murder.
Yeah. And so being accused of something is really, I'm going to say it for what it is, it's really overrated in this world. Being factual about something is a totally different thought process. And that's where my heart found peace.
So what happened in that chaos?
You can't, the hardest thing to do is...
You saw a friend get hit with a bottle.
That's it. That's it. And that's the only thing you can explain when you have probably, realistically, 25 to 30 people in an all-out brawl. Nobody knows who nobody is, right? But, even that night, you always have to ask yourself, like, why would nobody would ever approach me anyway, right, to like fight me, right? And so it was always embarrassing when I would hear the district attorneys, when I would hear all these people say, Ray Lewis, without a shadow of a doubt, stabbed and killed these two men. First of all, they're 4 or 5 inches freaking shorter than me, right? It's like, why would I fight somebody anyway, right? And so I think the thing that when you get into the story, the thing that you start to see is, I can now understand how young Afro-American men are brutally abused by certain forces, by certain people, because I sat there and I witnessed something that had nothing to do with me, but it had everything to do with my skin color and everything to do with my name.
But your car was shot.
Yeah, because we were in this altercation that occurred. You had, oh my gosh, the thing that still to this day that I want people to really understand is I was found guilty of obstruction of justice, which is because the police who came at me and said, yeah, N-word, it doesn't matter what you do, we're going to find you guilty of this. I defended myself stupidly because you don't speak directly to the police about nothing. But if you've never been through anything like that, listen, man, you don't know the protocol of that. Don't say nothing. Wait for your lawyer. I don't know all of that. So I immediately said, what are you talking about? I don't know everybody in the freaking car. That's what I'm found guilty of. That's the line of obstruction of justice that says, what is Ray Lewis guilty of? How did Ray Lewis' image get tarnished? Because they found him guilty of saying, I don't know everybody in the car. That's it. But you got everything else side to it, which is murder, which is the vicious side of it, which is never any proof, not one leg of proof.
You pled down to the obstruction charge, but in the book you write of the 2 civil suits that the families of the deceased brought against you that you settled. You wrote checks for those suits. Why would you settle those?
I still do it now. What's the difference? I just buried 4 people that had nothing to do with me. Yeah, I paid for their entire funerals. Yeah, so nothing, when you ask me, do I help people? Absolutely. Those kids, of those young men who are deceased now, if those phone calls I get every day of my life, and I still help people every day of my life. So guilt? No, guilt is only when you feel guilty to say, listen, I'm gonna slide this to you because I really feel bad. No, I didn't feel bad about that. And because I sat there and spoke to both families. I said, listen, what I'm doing, this ain't about me. This is about because you let somebody confuse my name, and that child is innocent. Money come a dime a dozen. Yeah, I don't value money, but what I do value is my integrity as a man, and I value that helping people, no matter what the circumstance people want to show, helping people is my main goal. Yeah.